froze up. That's a little scary.
What is?
It just like froze up.
Are you
but-
good?
Yeah, I'm good now. I just want to remind everyone in the audience, if they would like to sign in, we're trying to get everybody used to signing in, getting on the email list before our meetings. I think everybody's gotten pretty good at that. That's here. And you guys ready? I will go ahead and call this meeting to order, dated February 1st, 2022. The time is now 7:15. Roll call.
Trustee Black.
Here.
Trustee Jallison.
Here.
Trustee Joswick.
Here.
Trustee Moreland.
Here.
Trustee Politis.
Here.
Trustee Cesaro.
Here.
And Mayor Tarkington.
Here.
All present.
Would everybody please rise for the pledge? All right, does the board have any conflicts of interest to announce at this time?
I believe that I need to recuse myself from item 5E, the resolution 512.
Okay, noted. Thank you. Anybody else? All right, do we have any general public input not pertaining to items on the agenda today? Yes, Brian.
Good evening, Brian Blanchard, 627 Louisiana Drive. And I know it's the beginning of the year and all of that, and we've got some people coming and going off the different boards, whether it's planning or trustees. And appreciate that for those newbies that are coming in and what's coming down the pike. And having said that, I think we are looking at a lot of projects. Our increase in development this year alone could be 42% over what it's been since whenever. So I think that's why some of us are a little, really, can we handle 42%, year after year? So having said that, with the new projects that you're going to be facing and the newbies coming on the board, I want to just talk real quickly about the mission statement and the purpose of the planning and trustees. And in section 1, number 1 is the purpose of you. And the purpose of you is the land use code and comp plan will have the following purposes: to promote the health, the safety, and general welfare of Bayfield residents, to lessen congestion in the streets, to secure safety from fire, panic, and floodwaters, and other dangers that may be present, to identify and secure for present and future residents the beneficial impacts of development, to identify and avoid the negative impacts of development, to ensure that future development is of the proper type, design, and location, and served by adequate range of public services and facilities to achieve the goals and implement the policies of the Bayfield Comprehensive Plan as may be amended from time to time. What I ask you to do is look at each individual project and how that is going to fit into the big picture here. Rather than just, I know it's tough for you, you're volunteers and things are coming at you, but you got to slow down and take a look at each one individually and see, does it do these things? Is it good for our community? It may be good for the developer, but will it do these things for us as a town? Thank you.
Thank you. We have anyone else?
Lori Lazari, I live near Cinnamon Heights. I just have 2 questions, and then I will forward an email to Katie so that I can get a response, hopefully in the meetings too. The first thing is about, I'm not sure the date, this was in the Durango Herald a few weeks ago, talking about Cinnamon Heights. It says, Bayfield plans to make 20 to 25 of the lots developed at Cinnamon Heights deed restricted from being sold for more than $275,000. And my question is, if it's over that, say it costs $300,000 to build it, where is that money going to come from? So that's the first question. The second one is in regard to the letter that comes in our LPEA. It's like a newsletter. This was January of this year. And I know that we are, the Board of Trustees, wants to spend $9 million for broadband. And in here it says, this is LPEA. We also took some large studies in broadband in 2021 with the board adopting a resolution that LPEA will pursue a funding and partnership strategy that will enable broadband connections to its membership by 2030 without increasing electric rates to do so. So I'm wondering how this is going to conflict with the money that we're spending, and should we spend it? Or is LPEA going to provide this? And that's it.
Thank you.
Did I miss the part for the public input for my 3 minutes?
We're on it right now.
You're up. Your turn.
I was here several weeks ago because of the ice on.
Could you go ahead and just state your name and address for the record, please?
My name is Teddy Jack, and you try to remember that.
I got it.
I live on 542 West North Street for the last 20 years, and most people know that. Now, back to what I was saying. I fell off my bicycle in that ice 2 weeks ago, and I landed on my shoulder and the side of my head. And 3 weeks later now, whatever it is, if I turn my neck too far, my neck still hurts. And I come in and I ask you if you could do something about it. And the snowplowed man, you know in Colorado we have 3-inch rains, and that means there's a drop of water every 3 inches. He come through there dropping rocks, and there was a rock about every 6 inches. It went into the ice the first sunny day and glassed over with more slick ice. And I've never been late paying my bill. I pay my city bill on time every month. And you can't seem to clean my road. I don't know whether you got it against me because I'm a war veteran, or whether I'm an old disabled person, or why you can't clean my road. Every road in town gets cleaned. Could somebody explain to me why they can't clean the snow and ice off my street? The night I fell down, I went and got my screw gun and I drilled a hole in the ice 3 inches deep. How much snow does it take to pack down to make 3 inches of ice? Are you a road maintenance guy?
Yeah,
Maybe you'd answer that question.
I couldn't tell you how much snow it takes to make 3 inches of ice.
Okay. But what can I expect somebody to clean my street?
All right, so you're talking,
West North Street.
and you have ice buildup in front of your house?
Still built up from the last storm.
Yeah, we'll talk about
I talked
this.
to an attorney about it, and he said if I'd have come and laid in the street until an ambulance picked me up and hauled me away, that the city, it would have been a lot cheaper for them to melt that ice away than to pay my doctor bills.
We'll follow up at our leadership meeting tomorrow.
Anyway,
We'll reach back out to
That's the
you.
same thing they said 2 weeks ago. You know, you might think I'm stupid or something, and I've been nowhere, done nothing. But almost 50 years ago now, I plowed 32 miles of road in a rural area in Pitkin County, twice a day, every day before the school bus, every afternoon before the school bus. I know something about snow removal. I've worked for every construction company, the largest and the smallest in the Four Corners area, and I'm familiar with what it takes, what a snow removal machine is capable of. And I've worked on the spreaders, I've worked on the plows, and you're just not doing the job.
Okay, we'll talk about this tomorrow, and I'll follow up with you.
Okay, next time it snows, I've seen them plow your driveway out here twice before they even went down my street.
We'll look into it for
You
you.
know, I don't know how he gets such a low priority. Everybody, there's no ice
Okay,
anywhere
Teddy,
else in
it's-
town.
We hear you. Your
All
3
right,
minutes
I
is up.
make it clear, you guys. This is not funny. You fall down off your bicycle in the ice and see how you feel.
Teddy, we will look into it.
You know? All right, now I'll waste no more of your time. And I might talk to this man about snow removal. You don't seem to know much about it, but.
We're going to move on with our meeting, Teddy. Thank you. Do we have any more public input? All right, did everybody get a chance to look at the agenda?
Madam Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Trustee Black.
Yes.
Trustee Dallison.
Yes.
Trustee Joswick.
Yeah, yes.
Trustee Moreland.
Yes.
Trustee Politis.
Yes.
Trustee Cesaro.
Yes.
Mayor Tarkington.
Yes.
All in favor.
All right, did everybody get a chance to go over the minutes from January 18th, 2022? Oop.
I would move adoption of the minutes as presented by the town clerk.
I'll second that.
All right, any further discussion? Roll call.
Trustee Black.
Yes.
Trustee Dallison.
Yes.
Trustee Joswick.
Yes.
Trustee Moreland.
Yes.
Trustee Politis.
Yes.
Trustee Cesaro.
Yes.
And Mayor Tarkington.
Yes.
All in favor.
All right, moving on to our department reports. Jeremy, do you have anything to add to your report?
So if you notice, the water production charts we have the 2021 water production. I just like to point out in December, our water production is slightly inflated. We had a rather sizable leak from La Plata Archuleta Water District, right to the west of Jim Village. And so they finally got it isolated and were able to get it repaired, but you'll see there's probably, I don't know, roughly 500,000 gallons of production that went out through that leak. So
Oh, wow.
just to make you aware.
Who assumes the cost for that water?
That was all metered through the master meter.
Okay.
So, yeah, La Plata is on the hook for that.
Anybody have any questions for Jeremy? I would just like to just point out, every time we get these reports, it looks like Public Works, a lot of your guys are stepping up, getting their certifications, getting their CDLs and all the things. I just want to, kudos to those guys, and I appreciate them all stepping up for the department. And Town Marshal McIntyre.
So I wasn't able to put a memo together. Obviously, I was gone again, and I apologize. Our JAG grant opportunity is opened up for applications for funding again. As most of you are aware, JAG grant, that helped us start our school resource officer program, paid for that deputy. It's currently paying for one of our newest deputies, Deputy Moreland. We've also been able to use that funding to help purchase patrol vehicles. They provide you with $25,000 per vehicle. And that opportunity has opened up again. So what I would like to get and receive from the board is authorization for me to apply for JAG grant funding. My intention is to apply for 2 grants. One of those being the continuation funding. We would actually end up being the 4th and final year. Even though, because things got delayed, we've only used the first year that we received that funding. So we still have 2 years, but we can apply for a 4th year. That would be the 4th and final year. And then I'm also intending to apply for funding for patrol vehicles. Again, it's almost half of what it costs the town for a patrol vehicle, $25,000, but it certainly helps out.
So is it too late to put it on the 15th of February for an action item?
No, actually I can.
So we
Okay,
can-
That way we could have,
An official vote and,
full information on
Yeah.
any match, so.
But there's no requirement for any match or anything. So,
Well, that's cool.
okay.
okay. Thank you. Did anybody have any questions for Marshal McIntyre? All right, moving on to Katie, Town Manager Report. Do you have anything to add?
I don't have anything to add. Well, I do have something to add.
I was going to
I'm
call you
very-
out on it.
Very excited about, we're going to get city limit signs, and the noise ordinance will also be on the sign. Currently, the only sign for Bayfield city limit is right next to the pawn shop. That's it. There's nothing on the east and there's nothing on the west. So you have a photograph of where the new signs will be with the new noise ordinance posted with those signs. It'll probably be a couple months based on weather, but CDOT will be installing those, and we'll share a very nominal cost to put those signs up. So it's about $130 is our share. So very excited about new Bayfield city limit signs. And I've been working, it's so great to have Nicole on board because I've been basically going through the annexations back to 2000, basically pulling up and starting to document those annexations. It's been an interesting process because most of those should be recorded and documented with zoning and our maps. So we have a lot of work ahead of us. I found a lot of things that I will have to go back to. I just could not spend the time. Alley vacations, the official zoning changes, comp plan change amendments. So anyway, I have some work to do, but starting to actually have that a little more time to work on that. So.
All right, thanks for the update. Does the board have any questions for Katie?
I'm always going to put this out there. How are we going to enforce this noise ordinance if it's posted that we're going to enforce it?
So in the other communities I've worked with, we have, the board has passed through the ordinances to actually annex the highway. We have those options. We just have to go through the right procedures to do that. And then the marshal's office will have that, that opportunity. Keep in mind, the county also has a noise ordinance as well. So the deputies, the county deputies could also, would be required to enforce their ordinance as well. So anyway, very happy working with Jim Davis with the county, kind of getting a lot of these things online, CDOT. So I told her, I said, this is a big win for Bayfield to actually have a real grown-up town with city limit signs. So.
Joe, did you have any comment on that?
No, I mean, it's like Katie said, I mean, currently, because the highway's not in our jurisdiction, but that's kind of somewhat in the works. It would require, it would allow, at least with the signs being posted, it would allow the county deputies to enforce it until the any portion of that road annexed into town to where we can then actually enforce it ourselves.
If they happen to catch it happening exactly at that moment, right?
Well,
I mean, am I missing
that's
it?
that's always going to happen,
Yeah.
even if that was in our jurisdiction.
Right.
But what it would allow us is to spend some enforcement time, when we weren't tied up and busy with anything, and enforce it. Start getting the word out there, and hopefully the signs just being posted itself will help.
Deter.
Yeah, over the years, that's been like the main thing that keeps coming up is we'll just put up the signs anyways. It doesn't matter. As long as the signs are up, at least we put the effort into putting it up there and saying, this is not allowed. So I think it's appreciated. Thank you.
All right, moving on to our financial portion. Did everybody get a chance to look over the January 2022 disbursements?
Madam Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to accept the January disbursements as presented by the Deputy Finance Director.
I'll second that.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Trustee Black.
Yes.
Trustee Dallison.
Yes.
Trustee Joswick.
Yes.
Trustee Moreland.
Yes.
Trustee Politis.
Yes.
Trustee Cesaro.
Yes.
And Mayor Tarkington.
Yes.
All in favor.
All right, moving on to our vehicle equipment purchases.
So we have some pretty big purchases here. So because each department head is here, we'll have Becky provide some information on the truck and the Bobcat Toolcat.
So, beginning of January, we reached out to the dealership that gave us the quote that we put in the packet for the budget, 2022 budget, and they told us at that time that that truck was no longer available and that the fleet truck for 2022s were not available. And so we were gonna have to look at getting a fleet truck for 2023 version, but would have no information until August, meaning they couldn't give us any dates on availability, they couldn't give us any quotes or anything. So I asked Mark, our parks manager, to do some research and see if there are any fleet trucks out there. He worked on it for quite a while, to be honest with you. The only thing he was really coming across was a bunch of used fleet trucks that already had 60,000 miles on it. And we kind of wanted to stay away from it. But then he came across a dealership in Longmont that had a 2022 Silverado fleet truck, met the specifications that we were looking for, and it was en route to their yard. And so we decided to jump on board and purchase that truck. It was right at the price that we were quoted last year anyways. And so Katie gave us approval to move forward with that truck. So we do have a brand new fleet truck. And then for the Bobcat, same kind of deal. They're not available right now. They're not available until August. And of course, pricing went up on it. So the pricing went up about $7,000 on it. And so in order to keep it into budget, we took out the snowblower option, and we'll revisit that next budget.
So did you come in at the same price that was budgeted, or you slightly under, over?
For the Bobcat?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like maybe like $200 under.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
Good job.
And then the Public Works truck, trailer, and water meter purchase.
Well, with the truck, we ran into the same issue Becky did. We called a bunch of different dealerships. So we ended up going to Longmont as they did, and we actually got our truck under budget. With the utility service bid, the trailer, we're looking at purchasing trailers so we don't have to keep renting one from Swag every time we have to haul one of our pieces of equipment to Durango or across town. That'll also help with the water fill barriers we're buying. And then our meter purchase is the start of our 5-year replacement program. We're gonna start with the commercial first because they're really gonna be hit the hardest with the rate change. That way we can data log them and show them that what they're using when they complain.
We don't have data logability on the current meters?
I didn't hear you.
We don't have data logability on our current meters?
Not on our old ones, no.
Okay.
So all 5 of these, the 3 of them, the first 3, I already have a PO in process, basically because if we didn't make the move in January, mid-January, we were going to lose out until 2023. So I'm looking for your ratification for the first 3, and the next 2, the trailer and the meter purchase. We do not have a PO at this time. That's before you for your decision. Obviously, it is within your authority on all 5 of those items.
I will just say that I think everyone's kind of facing the same issue with the vehicles, and I was in on these discussions, and I backed it at the time of discussion. So I'm comfortable moving forward if everyone else is on. Just go ahead and put them in the bulk in one motion.
Madam Mayor, I move to ratify the purchase of a 2022 Silverado for $41,646.80, a Bobcat Toolcat for $65,207.40 for the Recreation Department, a 2022 Chevrolet 2500 for $48,639.80, and a trailer in the amount of $16,990 for Public Works. And then water meters to start our water meter replacement in the amount of $74,889.20.
I'll second that.
All right. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Trustee Black.
Yes.
Trustee Dallison.
Yes.
Trustee Joswick.
Yes.
Trustee Moreland.
Yes.
Trustee Politis.
Yes.
Trustee Cesaro.
Yes.
And Mayor Tarkington.
Yes.
All in favor.
All right, moving on to old business. Do we have any general public input pertaining to items 4A or B on the agenda? If not, we'll move on to our professional service agreement for our janitorial services.
So this is coming before you. The previous amount in this contract, this professional services agreement, was the 2021 governmental immunity amount. Most commercial businesses and insurance companies find it hard to keep up with governmental immunity amount, so he had to go from 1 million to 2 million. And I had a discussion with Attorney Goldman just to verify that, you know, going to $1 million, and they provided all the certifications that the insurance company stated that we should ask for. And then I also had Town Attorney Goldman also review this, and he added a couple sentence to the end of number 12 in this contract. That's the only change, and we're asking for your approval for the mayor to execute this agreement. We are getting to a point where we really need a janitor on. The $2 million coverage will cost the janitor more, so this your decision.
Questions, comments?
I'd like to make a motion to authorize Mayor Tarkington to execute the revised professional service agreement regarding the insurance limit revision.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Trustee Black.
Yes.
Trustee Dallison.
Yes.
Trustee Joswick.
Yes.
Trustee Moreland.
Yes.
Trustee Politis.
Yes.
Trustee Cesaro.
Yes.
And Mayor Tarkington.
Yes.
All in favor.
All right, moving on to the Opioid Regional Council IGA revision. I
It's
know
about
this-
26 pages of items, and there's just a couple small edits. It looks like they removed references to the Southern Utes, the tribal nation. There's fairly minor, but it will require your approval for this SWORD agreement. The Opioid Regional Council, IGA, has been revised, certainly by other attorneys above me, so.
many, many, many times I've signed this, so this is just another revision.
The Southern Utes are going out on their own.
I think that's, I don't know.
I was curious too.
Madam Mayor, I'd make a motion to authorize Mayor Tarkington, to execute the revised IGA for SWORD.
I'll second that.
All right, any further discussion? Roll call.
Trustee Black.
Yes.
Trustee Dallison.
Yes.
Trustee Joswick.
Yes.
Trustee Moreland.
Yes.
Trustee Politis.
Yes.
Trustee Cesaro.
Yes.
And Mayor Tarkington.
Yes.
All in favor.
All right, moving on to new business. Do we have any general public input pertaining to items 5A through E on the agenda? Seeing none, we will move on to Resolution 510.
So Resolution 510, there's a cancellation that Town Attorney Goldman has just found, and I just wanted to make sure there's a misspelling, and cancellation should be 2 L's in cancellation in Section 2 of the proposed Resolution 510, just to be consistent. Cancellation always has 1 or 2 L's, so, but let's make them 2, so it's all consistent.
Yeah, 3, but hey.
That'd be overdoing it.
Any questions, comments from the board?
I make a motion to approve Resolution 510, modification of Resolution 507 regarding DOLA 8989, rescission of funds.
I'll second that.
All right, any further comment? Roll call.
Trustee Black.
Yes.
Trustee Dallison.
Yes.
Trustee Joswick.
Yes.
Trustee Moreland.
Yes.
Trustee Politis.
Yes.
Trustee Cesaro.
Yes.
And Mayor Tarkington.
Yes.
All in favor.
So I just pulled up Resolution 512. It's the Section 2 in 512, and not in this one. My apologies.
Oh, for the. Okay. All right, Resolution 511 regarding the 2021 HUFT report ratification.
So there is the HUTF document with the report. In this, we have taken in La Plata Road. La Plata Road is is not a county road. They don't address it. A portion of it actually is in town, and a portion of it is still in the unincorporated county. But just to make it a little bit easier, even when you take it into your HUTF and into your maintenance can be 0. Doesn't necessarily mean that you're have any responsibility to maintain it, but at least we can at least identify when somebody has an issue with La Plata Road, we know who to go to versus flipping it back and forth to the county, and the county is not dealing with it. It's really in the center of town. It does serve Mobile Home Court to the south. And that Mobile Home Court is in town, so.
It's in town.
Mhm.
The- Why don't we annex the road? That's just,
Right now, we're just, no,
I
this
mean,
is,
just throwing it out there, or does somebody who owns or does some landowner in that region behind you have to come forward and say, I want to be in the town?
Yeah, well, I mean, nobody, as was said, nobody claims it, okay? I mean, way back when, the county did research on it because we wondered whose it was, and we couldn't find anything on it. I'll guarantee you it was Montgomery's that put it in to get the
Yeah,
trailer park in.
sure.
Now they disavow ownership of it and maintenance and every other thing, so I don't, because I had questions about this. Why are we claiming it? You know,
Yeah.
what do we gain by doing this?
This would be a good one for Nicole to look into.
No,
has her work cut
and,
out.
Seriously, I mean, there's
I-
ownership questions there, and going back and looking at it. And the thing is, if the town's going to assume responsibility for maintenance, then certainly we probably should pursue some kind of annexation or something, so that we have maybe quasi ownership, because we're not really going to be the owners unless somebody gives it to us.
I could not agree with you more, Trustee Black. I think the issue is that now with the staff and competent staff to basically start looking at annexing highways and streets, Bayfield Parkway, a lot of that is not in town.
You know-
And even though it's our street. So I think that we've got some work to do on, exactly, I agree with you.
So we can revisit
And-
this.
Yeah, I do have a question. I mean, because it is not it isn't built to town standards or county standards or anybody's standards other than Montgomery standards.
Probably.
Does that put us in a bind in any way?
So
But
like I
then-
said,
then-
maintenance can be 0. You can still take a segment of a street into your system and still say that maintenance is 0. And the one thing that we're working on, not only an asphalt maintenance plan, but looking at all of our streets to have a maintenance plan of some sort, which we don't have. And so when somebody complains and says, you know, it's you haven't plowed it, whatever, you know, that isn't the only street that probably some work could be done.
Yeah.
That was not built up to town standards.
Okay.
But you have to but it's better to have a plan to say we're not gonna do anything versus the citizens, or your citizens, that are trying to figure out, who do I talk to?
So do you guys plow that currently? No.
Yeah, that was my question.
Ish?
Yeah.
I don't know if you necessarily need to address the standards, but currently, for the last 2 years, we usually wait till a second or a third complaint when it goes back and forth between the county. And then we've been filling in potholes, millings, and just kind of trying to maintain it to its current standard. I don't know if you necessarily need to reconstruct the road, but Bayfield Public Works has taken on responsibility for the snow removal and maintenance of that portion for the residents at the end, that are in town. So.
Now, the key thing is if it gets plowed in the wintertime, just for safety more than anything, you know, I'm all about making certain that we have access for our fire equipment.
Well, and we've been taking care of potholes for Upper
Yeah,
Pine.
and-
They access that street as well too,
Right.
and there was some pretty sizable potholes. So, you know, millings and ABC, nothing super expensive, but we have been taking care of the potholes for probably about the last year and a half.
Right.
Okay.
You ready
Any-
for a motion?
Yes, sir.
Madam Mayor, I'd move to approve Resolution 511 regarding the 2021 HUTF report.
I would second that.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Trustee Black.
Yes.
Trustee Dallison.
Yes.
Trustee Joswick.
Yes.
Trustee Moreland.
Yes.
Trustee Politis.
Yes.
Trustee Cesaro.
Yes.
And Mayor Tarkington.
Yes.
All in favor.
All right, moving on to our Main Street revitalization project.
So the town was awarded $150,000. They have it as $149,999. I think there's like a penny after that, or it's just 0. Beth actually applied for this and worked on it. We were awarded. It's probably the easiest CDOT grant I'll probably ever see, and I don't ever have seen to this point. And we do match it. In your budget, you also match it with $50,000 as well. We may look at another $25,000 a year for sidewalk improvement. In the grant details, what we're going to do, widen the sidewalks. We may adjust the center line of the street just slightly south to widen the sidewalks on both sides of Mill Street. That's kind of the gateway of Mill Street. In that, there are some things we're going to have to remove, and I think this is where we want to be sensitive to removing the monument with the previous mayor's monument. However, you cannot see around it to see traffic. And I had one request, could you just move it east? Well, there's guide wires and electric guide wires. You can't move it east. So we'll have to figure out a way to creatively represent or preserve the history of the gift. We'll figure that out, but the plaque that's on there is already corroded on the top. So, you know, it came off when we were out there, so it wasn't going to last very long anyway. So we're just trying to figure out what to do. We're going to remove that first line of trees. The banner poles, the banner across it. I think at some point it'd be nice to have an electronic sign that says block party, 4th of July, you know, maybe, you know, other emergency things if we needed to, like the day we had the gas that hit the gas line. Say, you know, this is a place where you can meet, or, you know, if you need to be evacuated from your home. Because we're so close to Town Hall, we could actually operate that from Town Hall and change the words. I don't know if you notice, the school district office has, you know, a very simple sign, and it's information about meetings, and it's Tuesday and school's out or school's in. So those things I thought would be very helpful. So we do have the grant. I guess the next part is regarding some of the items that we're going to have to remove to create those wide sidewalks.
How many trees are we gonna have to move? Or
Probably
remove?
about 6.
Yeah.
And they're all
And not the pine
mature?
trees, it's the,
They're all Bradford pears. Yeah, get rid of them.
okay.
And is there a plan to replace some of
Well,
these
no,
trees?
it would be sidewalk. There's
I
pine
know.
trees that are there.
The tree board will
Thank
take
you.
care of that.
I was saying that for like a hint over at the other end of the table here.
We're appalled.
That doesn't make me happy to remove trees, but the
Yeah.
sidewalks definitely
Well,
need
one
it.
of the things in this corridor that needs to be addressed, and I'm most certain if we talk to Steve there with I think it's CenturyLink, who does the phone service there. He's never liked all those overhead wires. And he will work with the town to make certain those are all put in conduit. if we will get with him on that, since we're gonna have all that groundwork opened up at this point. But that would get rid of those wires that basically run there from in front of the two bed and breakfasts, or excuse me, the two
Those are pretty
ARBs,
low-hanging.
B&Bs on down.
Except we're not doing anything past.
The
Well,
poles, we were gonna
well,
put
we
poles.
might, this would be one of those places where the town has is flush with a little extra cash, and if we can make certain all of that infrastructure ends up in the ground like it should be, we'll be money ahead in the long run. Plus the fact, to keep the wing of the snowplow from taking it out.
Isn't there an issue with some tanks underneath the ground at the Pete's place?
At Eba's.
At Eba's? Isn't that gonna be an issue?
Tanks
It's a
on their
brown,
property?
it's a brownfield.
Their
If there is a tank, there's a monitoring well. And if the monitoring well is no longer there, our engineer is gonna be able to know if there's a monitoring well there.
Yeah.
I feel like
It's definitely
something came up
documented.
before
You're
that,
right,
and
Kristen.
it was gonna cost like a ton of money to have it all torn out.
I thought they had remediated though.
Oh, no.
It might have been remediated.
I think
but
so.
you're right, Kristen, there's something that needs to be
Yeah,
researched there.
That's true, you're right. I mean, because there was that gas station there on the corner
It
of
was during the
Mill,
sale of that property.
Yeah, I
and
think
they
that
ended
they
up
just-
having a leaky tank, and that water was flowing towards the south and the east, is my understanding.
So I'm not
I thought
aware,
it
I
just
haven't
was that
seen a
the
monitoring
environmental
well,
report was just
basically
saying
in
that
the
there
street.
used to be one there, not there is
Yeah,
one
there's
there.
if
Yeah,
you
I
go
don't know
out there,
how
there's a
close it is to the
monitoring
street or
well
if it
out
would
there
affect us.
somewhere. I'm not, there's two or three of them over there. Yeah. I don't think there's a tank under there anymore. I thought they dug it up.
I
it was-
believe
I
that
think
it's still
there is.
there.
It's still there?
I believe
Yeah.
it's still there. I mean, I've never seen it excavate.
Oh, that's true too.
So-
I think the tank's there, but isn't that what we did when they put all of remember when they drilled up the end of Mill Street and they put all the concrete
Yeah,
plugs in?
yeah.
Yeah.
Guns night.
Weren't we
What were you-
fixing
Yeah,
the
I-
problem when they
I-
did
I
that?
feel like it
think
was,
that's what they did. You were
based on the
board when
sale
we
of the
did that.
business, and they
Yeah, and
had
that
to do
was on the board
something.
when
to-
that
yeah.
happened.
There was no choice.
Yeah.
Some research.
Yeah. So, so
Well,
Katie,
that's
are
what
you?
the surveyor, I mean, they're gonna do,
Yeah.
they're gonna identify utilities, and usually a monitoring well is on, I'm sorry, I forget what the state labor and whatever, site, so I would think, and we can certainly notify them that there could be that potential. And if-
David, do you know if Plateau Environmental is still around?
I don't know if they are or not. I want to say they are.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure
Because-
they were the ones
yeah.
that did a lot of the work
Right,
over
I
there.
want to say that they are, but, and I see from time to time, I'll see
Maybe change
somebody
that.
down there pulling samples. So I know
Make sure that
that
it's
somebody's still paying attention to it.
Yeah, I mean, they might be worth,
Yeah, and the thing
Contact them, see
is,
if they
those
have any
wells,
history
I
on
don't
them.
think those monitoring wells are an issue with respect to any kind of infrastructure improvement that we might have in mind there. They're just gonna still monitor those,
Right.
just to ensure that there isn't a continuing, or that the problem that there is lessening over a period of time.
So at this point, Katie, are you looking for direction from the board? I don't know what we're.
I don't wanna just remove a monument and have you go whoop.
Well, I think
Well,
Let's go.
I think we can give
I think the
directions.
banner poles, I think it could be another thing, is people are gonna be, assume that we're just gonna keep putting banners up. We don't have a cherry picker, we don't have any way to manage that. The census, banner was kind of the last one, and it looked good for a day, and then before you know it, whipped around, and, and then we have other people that want banners up, and I'm like, well, you have to go find somebody to put it up and manage it when it gets all wrapped up there. And there's a better way to notify people other than
Yeah.
those banners, and and
But-
it would be easier to manage.
Okay, and I think That's why I'm asking if we could just go ahead and give direction, and we trust that staff will approach this with
I mean,
discretion
you
and-
indicate that, Katie indicates she wants a motion. I'm not really sure what that motion would
Right, that's
say.
what I'm saying. I think there's several parts to all this, so I think
Yeah, I mean, can't
if we can
just
give
say, yeah,
direction
go
to work
ahead?
through this investigation with, dealing with the sensitive issues there as well.
Yeah, I mean,
And we'll, and your, knowledge of the, gas station and a tank, those are things we can actually have the engineer take a look at, so.
Okay, so we can move on. I think that everyone's in favor of moving forward with.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you want a motion?
Well, that's what I'm saying. There's just,
Well,
it's-
I
I don't think we need a
I think we
I don't know
gave
that-
direction.
Yeah. I
If-
don't
You
know
give
that
me a
need
thumbs up or?
Yes,
Yeah,
we're
let's give her a thumbs
How's
up.
that?
give direction. Okay, moving on to our SGM Main Street revitalization proposal.
So, we were all shocked. I think we had to ask, CDOT multiple times, are you sure we don't need to go out for an RFP? We actually did that for an engineer less than a year ago, so we could have moved ahead, but this is gonna be fairly simple. They provided a, estimate. There is an estimate for engineering actually in the grant. And we're looking for your approval to approve the mayor to execute this agreement.
Any questions?
I'd make a motion to authorize Mayor Tarkington to execute the SGM Main Street revitalization contract for Mill Street.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further comment? Roll call.
Trustee Black.
Yes.
Trustee Dallison.
Yes.
Trustee Joswick.
yes.
Trustee Moreland.
Yes.
Trustee Politis.
Yes.
Trustee Cesaro.
Yes.
And Mayor Tarkington.
Yes.
All in favor.
I don't think you need to
I was gonna say, do I
leave
need
the
to
room.
leave?
You just don't get to to vote. Moving on to resolution 512.
So, maybe this is a town clerk, basically just to give you an update of where we were with petitions. Yes?
Yes.
Yeah.
On the
Okay.
spot.
Um, Before the end of business on Monday, yesterday, we had one candidate withdraw their petition. That leaves us 4 candidates running for the 4 available seats, which means, and this is the only thing on the ballot, so we can cancel our election. Canceling that election, I will, what do you call it? Declare the remaining 4 candidates elected effective April the 5th, which would be Election Day.
And we have a 2-year term,
Oh.
Tom Awe has requested, and town clerk verified that at this point, he could voluntarily take the 2-year term.
Okay. All right.
Madam Mayor, Michael Bowman here. This is the resolution 512 that in section 2, there is a misspelled word. So that'll do it.
So it needs to be renumbered, you said?
No, it's just with the revision on the spelling.
Cancellation with 2 L's instead of 1 on section 2.
And I know there's, I think, a couple of the candidates in the room, and we really appreciate you stepping up and getting involved on the board.
I know Tom Law, but I don't know Alexis Hart or Eli Luke. Are they here?
Alexis is here.
Hello, Alexis. And
Thanks for stepping up.
Yes, we appreciate
Eli,
it.
Eli Luke is not here?
I went to school with him. He's a couple years older than me.
Eli Luke? Okay.
All right, any questions or comments? I would entertain a motion including that spelling error correction.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to adopt a resolution 512, canceling the election and appointing our 4 open seats with a cancellation spelling correction in section 2.
I'll second that.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Trustee Black.
Abstain?
Trustee Dallison.
Yes.
Trustee Joswick.
Yes.
Trustee Politis.
Yes.
Trustee Cesaro.
Yes.
And Mayor Tarkington.
Yes.
5 in favor, 1 abstained.
All right, congratulations, thank you. All right, moving on to our discussion portion of the evening, our solid waste draft number 2.
So this just was not refined enough to get to an ordinance, so I felt like maybe there's some things we just need to talk about. There's some new and revised definitions in here. You know, we'll have our staff basically go through these in more detail, and there's quite a few new definitions that are in there. The powers of the board, basically I added a mandatory to residential user with defined exemptions, and also available to commercial users. Commercial users that maybe have similar to household, you know, paper, or we want them to recycle the paper, but typical to household use. We actually have some people that are living in commercial spaces, and we require them to go out to their own trash collection, and I just thought that was just it was sad that we sent somebody all over the place to get trash picked up, when our goal really for this ordinance is to make sure that trash gets picked up and removed from town. Out-of-town residents that are water and or sewer customers, so homestead trails, if they decided they wanted to use the same fee that we're paying on a monthly basis, they could opt in to get their trash picked up. Now, granted, some of these we're going to go back to GFL for some of their review based on because they are our vendor, and they have 3 more years left on their contract. The powers of the board, the exemptions, and that's on page 121. Oop, this just keeps wanting to give me an so tribal members, we understand that the Southern Ute actually has a trash collection area. So if they are tribal members, they may have that option. Employees or owners of a business that are eligible to use the business trash removal service. And of course, we had a citizen here last meeting that said that, you know, that's my perk at my job, so why should I pay for it? Disabled residents that have a caretaker that's properly disposing of the trash. And you know, we're going to verify where they're taking the trash. I actually had one of those that had exempted himself, or the staff had exempted himself out of trash pickup, so that he takes it to the gas station. And it's like, well, that's not an approved place.
Doesn't quite work that way.
I mean, that's what we're trying to get away from, because if you notice at the roadside park, people take their garbage, and we can't do anything about the county people, but you do have to find a way to stop that.
Yeah.
So, senior citizens that are 65 and older that have permission from a resident user to share a cart, you know, if they're only using 1 bag a week, and there's some neighbor that is interested in providing that, or an extraordinary situation at the discretion of the town manager. So just wanted to make sure that you saw those 5 exemptions, and if you have any concerns about those, you know, you're going to see these a couple times, but the next thing is a preparation. I thought was interesting is that you have a definition for ashes, but you don't prohibit it. So nothing says that you can't put hot ashes into your polycart. Well, I don't think that was the goal either. So I kind of have to work on that. We had a bunch of hazards that GFL actually picked out. They let our staff know, and we kind of need to take those and kind of combine them and make it, you know, a real regulation. The payment of charges is exactly how you had adopted an ordinance on November 16th. Dead animals. So this is, I was I asked, I said, well, what do you do with dead animals? And so what they do is Public Works comes and picks them up or drags them up, backhoe bucket, and they take them to the back of the sewer plant. And I'm like, well, but that's not clean either. I mean, someday you're going to want to use that maybe as a trail and is it really
It's a graveyard.
publicly, is it healthy to having dead animals piling up? He says there's 2 or 3 a year. I said, well, I've been in small towns and it's not 2 or 3 a year. It can be 12 if, a month if you get, certain situations.
We have, that's a real concern, how many deer do we have running around this town? And if we have one of those snowstorms where we get 5 feet of snow and then a hard freeze and it makes it impossible for them to get feed, yeah, we're gonna have dead animals all over the place.
What about the place next to Chavalos?
The crematorium?
Yeah.
The what?
I mean, they take care of dead animals.
You wanna drop them next to the restaurant?
Wait, say this again, Chevalier.
I don't think it's there.
That's a good idea.
It's just adding flavor, Kelly.
Okay, what does CDOT do with them?
Okay, so CDOT does not do anything with them.
They're all the deer they pick up?
But it took me many phone calls to find out who would take a dead animal. And even when I called the county, I got the runaround. And finally, they gave me the phone number for the landfill. She says, yeah, we take them for $30. I said,
Hogs are beautiful,
isn't that
used
where
to
they
take them
belong?
all the time. It
I
would
thought
just,
that's what Saul's Creek was for.
Yeah, I've gone hiking out there. That's what I'm saying. I think that's where CDOT's been.
When I called the parks person here in Durango, he said, yes, you can take them to the Forest Service. They still have to approve a place where you take them. I'm like, well, I don't think the town of Bayfield hauling, we could maybe get an approved place. But I think we're a town where we expect a little bit of, conscientious.
do we still
removal
own
of
the dump?
animals.
Do we still have our dump out in Saul's Creek?
No,
we got rid of that?
Yeah.
So anyway, the dump does take them. It's $30. And so Jeremy and I have had some interesting conversations about dead animals. But I think even as a town, we should not be hauling them to the back of the sewer plant.
No.
Just because we don't know what else to do with them.
Well, there's
And if-
proper burials that you're supposed to do too. Like even if you go to the vet's office and you take home your dog, they give you
Right.
proper burial instructions of where you can actually bury your animal. So yes, yeah.
What, you mean you're
Well-
not supposed to do it in your yard?
You can, but you have to be a certain amount of feet away from public property. You have to dig a certain amount of feet down, 4 feet down into the ground. There's rules on what you.
That's correct.
Yeah.
So why are we
what you
taking?
can do?
And I'm not. I know I'm poking fun at Jeremy, but I think that we have to manage this. And if we're talking about solid waste, we should be considering that in our ordinance and not just assuming, we shouldn't get the runaround on where to take a dead animal. If somebody, deer will die of old age or die of other symptoms, not just being hit on the road in backyards. I would hope that the neighbor or the property owner where they die will manage that, but at least we'll give them a way to manage that. So you can put the deer in your back of your pickup or maybe a friend's pickup and haul it to the dump. It's $30
I'm sorry,
versus saying, well,
did you say where DOW takes theirs?
DOW does not manage dead animals.
Well,
They
and
said,
the
they
reason I-
told me that they should call the U.S. Forest Service and ask for a place to take the animal.
The reason I say that is a couple of years ago,
That's crazy.
they came and there was a dead deer in our neighbor's backyard, and they came and took it. So that's why I thought DOW dealt with that, but I guess
Maybe
they
they
don't.
used to, though.
No,
Maybe they
they-
don't.
they
Sometimes
actually-
if they have to do testing on it, because that happened down the street from my house too.
Diseased or
It was,
whatever.
and they wanted to find out if it was
Yeah.
sick, if it had a disease or not. So
Huh.
sometimes
They're
they
all
will take
inbred
it.
around here anyway. They ought to run them all out of town.
So anyway, Just so you know, this is coming.
Okay.
And we want to make sure, and I'm not done talking to the Parks and Wildlife. I think that's got to be a continuing conversation. But I need to find a Forest Service person, because I've called a couple times and they're like, what? I got to find
Nobody
it.
wants
I
to
said
give you
I
a
was
real
told by the Parks gentleman in Durango that I had to call you, and they had no idea where to send me. Well, if nothing else in our regulations should be somewhere, or, a list
Yeah.
of who to call, not getting the runaround, because what they'll do is they'll drag the dead deer to the street and they'll call Public Works. Or they'll call Town Hall for us to deal with it, so
All right.
that's all I got.
Riveting information here. So we'll see this again. We'll
Oh, yes.
get some answers for everybody.
What you talk about at the board? Dead
Have we beat
animals.
this dead horse to death?
Yes. All right, we're moving on. Board reports. Anybody got any updates?
Next week.
Not till March.
We're still trying to get the Southwest Cog Region 9 meeting together. I guess you're kind of familiar with that. So that'll happen, and it'll be good for everybody when it does.
We did update and we approved the service agreement, so
Yeah,
it's
and
moving forward.
So it's a slow process, but really, when it's all said and done, when you see what Region 9, or the area that Region 9 covers and the area that the Southwest Cog covers, it's good to have two different organizations meeting, have the ability of the two different organizations to meet together, but still maintain some independence from one another so that they can pursue the grants and other funding mechanisms that are out there for either private parties or the public entities.
All right, we have Planning Commission February 8th. Our board meeting on the 15th. You are closed on President's Day, on Monday. Becky will give you the day off, President's Day. All right, any other updates from the board? I will go ahead and adjourn this meeting. It is 8:16.
Thank you, Micah.
First time I went to the bond dad
It
down
won't be.
and stepped out on Scoop's head.
Oh, shit, sir.
Oh my
I had no idea that was a massive conversation.